built in. I do know that Windows has a photo editor. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Quilter's Apothecary. It is an exciting episode today because it is our inaugural episode of our Portraiture Applique. So we are starting that series today, and as you can see from the one behind me, our Lucille ball. That is one that we've done at many classes, and we are not actually going to be doing that one for this series. I'm actually going to start off a little bit more simple, and then throughout the series, as we finish one project, we'll work through step by step a couple of different projects. So we will definitely move into something a little more extreme each time. Just like with our thread painting, just like with our whole cloth, just like with any of the series, we kind of start very basic, and so that you know the methods, and then you can take that as extreme as you want to make it. So with the Portraiture Applique in fabric, obviously, what is it? It's Portraiture Applique in fabric. So one of the things that I want to talk about a little bit is this. You know, a lot of people would look at, let's say, a grandchild's face, and you look at it and you want to do a applique or an art quilt based upon your grandchild or son or dog or house, or it can be anything. You can utilize anything you want to utilize. But as you look at things, you don't know where the first place to start is. And so what I want to say are these three words. I had to count them. Think of paint by number, right? When you think of paint by number, and for my youngsters, which we have a few of here, paint by numbers were very popular in the 60s and the 70s, and it was actually just these kits you'd get with the different paint sets, and every little aspect of the painting had a little marked out area, much like you would think of an applique pattern. So for example, as we look at this, we see this area. Sorry, let me go over here so we can see this. See this little area? That would be one section. This would be one section. This would be another piece of fabric, another section. So as you see, there are a lot of different sections that make up this particular portrait in fabric. So the goal and the confusion for a lot of people that want to do something like this is, how do I actually do that aside from going out into the quilt market and purchasing some pre-made already things to do this with? And then of course, you know, they're very impersonal, though I buy I buy kits myself from other people. You know, I like birds and birch trees and those sorts of things. Those seem to be really popular out in the quilt shows and some of the shops right now. But our goal here is, thank you Siri, but no thanks. Our goal right now, let me turn this off, sorry about that. Our goal right now is that we want to go through the process of how to create our very own. So for example, I am going to start at step one of how to create an image. Now when we look at an image, or what I would call a pattern, after the photo that you want to use has been taken and made into an actual workable pattern for fabric, the one thing to know is that we take a photo and we posterize it to the appropriate level based upon our skill level, or based upon our willingness to put effort into the project. And you can go as simple as you want to go, or you can go again as extreme as you want to go. And I want to keep saying that to you because again, for this first one I'm going to stay fairly simple, but as we progress through different projects I will get a little bit more extreme. I would call the Lucy here that we're doing, I would say She would be a few steps up above simple, right? So I could have made her a lot more, and I will show you how during this episode. I could have made the actual pattern a lot more extreme, which would have given us a lot more detail. Um, but I want to get you in, get your toes wet, because the one thing that I have found, and I've taught um, a few hundred up to 1,000 people this particular method, is that it's best to start simple. You want some success to start out with. You don't want to tackle something that's too difficult and then give up on it because of the tedium. You want to fall in love with the process, right? Just like quilting when we're learning feathers. It's like there's that moment of, oh my goodness. And then all of a sudden it all clicks and all comes together. And then it's just kind of, it takes off and you pick up the pace and everything comes together very quickly. It's the same thing with this type of art quilt methods. Okay, much like our thread painting. And with a thread painting, those of you that did the Kingfisher, you know we jumped in pretty fast, pretty hard for some photorealism. With this one, you can start at any level you want. So let's talk about the first step. The first step that I want to talk about is choosing a reference photo. One thing I want to clarify as well is you either want to utilize your own reference photo or you can choose an existing piece of artwork. If you choose an existing copywritten piece of artwork, then you want to make sure to get permission from the person whose photo it belongs to. Another way that you can do this is, of course, we've talked about this before with thread painting. You could, if you don't, let's say you want to do a wolf or an eagle or something like that, and you don't have cameras and you don't go out into the wilderness or go anywhere that you could get good photos or even have the capability to take good photos. You can always go to places like Dreamtime or Shutterstock, and you could purchase the rights to utilize a photo for your piece of art. So again, there are ways to do that. The one thing you want to be very cautious about is taking a piece of artwork from offline and utilizing that in your art piece, and then of course showing people you find out that you've used a copywritten piece of material, right, that you can get in trouble for. Now I will say that if it's something that you're only going to have hanging in your own home, you're not going to show it. You're not going to show it on Facebook or social media or anything like that. You know, that's up to you. That one's your baby crying. You know, I have a few little Scooby-Doo things that I do because I love Scooby-Doo that are my own, and I don't share them in classes or anything. They're just my own. So you have to make those decisions. But the one thing I will say as well is this. What I have found is when you put the time into creating one of these pieces of art, you're going to be showing it. And I don't mean sending it off to a show, possibly, even though that's definitely an option. I'm talking about you're going to be showing it at your local guild. You might show it at your local show. Or you might dip your toe in. You may really love what you've created and then show it at one of the professional shows and get yourself into some trouble, right? I remember there was a show and somebody had a piece of art and they had done a portrait quilt based upon somebody else's piece of art, and someone had taken photos of it. It was at one of the big national shows, and during the show they had won, I think it was a second place best in show ribbon. And sadly enough, they were contacted by the artist and said, that has to come down. That is a copywritten stolen piece of art. And that was a very embarrassing thing for the artist. So you don't want to get yourself into those types of positions. So my suggestion, first of all, is as you progress, always if you're going to use somebody else's photo or artwork, either purchase the rights to do so, or, and then it's not that expensive. Dreamtime, Shutterstock, again, as we've covered when we were doing our thread painting stuff, it's very inexpensive. You can purchase the rights to utilize a photo for anything, 10 to 15 bucks, as long as you're not mass duplicating it, as long as you're not using it for profit, i.e. selling the image, that sort of thing. If you're using it for your own personal piece, single piece, that's something that you can utilize it for. It's very, again, a very logical, smart, and affordable way to gain access to some good photos. Now, my suggestion is, I know everybody has somebody that they like in their lives, is to possibly, whether it's a grandchild, whether it's a son, daughter, whether it's a spouse, whether it's yourself. Don't start with like, I would say if you're going to do a person or your own piece other than the one that I'm going to be showing you that I'm doing, don't start with something that's too difficult, i.e. like a real photo of a wolf, or maybe even a real photo of your own pet, right? That's not stylized like the one that I'm going to show you that we're going to use as an example during this first process. We will work there down the road in some future projects, but we're going to start with the basics. And the basics for me are going to be either pick a person who is a member of your family, and we all have these wonderful, magical phones, right? That can take really good pictures, better than most of our cameras that we used to have take. And take a picture of a face of somebody that you love and utilize that. You want to make sure it's very clear. And I'm going to go over a little bit of how to, number one, in this episode, we'll go over how to edit, and then also how to turn it into or at least start the process of turning it into an actual pattern that we can use for our portraiture applique. Okay, so what are some of the things you're going to need? A good clear photo, number one. Number two, you would use a program, photo manipulation program, and the one that I suggest to people if you have no clue and you're not a computer person and all of that, it's free. It's called GIMP, G-I-M-P, and Rich will add a link here where you can go directly to the GIMP site and download a copy, whether or not you have a Mac computer or a Windows-based computer. I happen to have a Mac, so I have the version that's for Mac. They both work pretty much the same, so you'll be able to follow along, and it'll be very clear what I'm doing. And then also, before we do that, we will go into a little bit of photo manipulation, a little bit of photo editing, based upon whatever system you have on your computer. I'm using a laptop, I'm using a Mac. We have a photo editing program that's already built in. I do know that Windows has a photo editing program that's already built in. I think it's called Paint. Paint is, if you have Windows, is what is kind of automatically built in. Let me get a drink here, to your system if you have Windows. Now on that, like I said, we're just going to do a little bit of basic editing. If you have a different system than what I have, then very simply go to YouTube if you have Windows, and if you need to find out how to change the size of a photo on your computer. If you don't know, if it doesn't follow the procedure that I'm showing, then you can always look for a few tutorials. It's very simple. There's thousands of those to get to the point in which then we can take it and posterize it. So back to our process. So those really are the only things you need. Now, transferring it into a pattern will be something that we will talk about on one of the next episodes. possibly the second one, possibly the third one. I'm not sure how far we're going to get here. I want to make sure to take you through this process step by step, because I know a lot of you, like myself, you need to go through the process step by step. All right, well, that is our introduction to what we've got coming up for this wonderful series. So on our next episode, we will be going into all of the wonderful ways that we take the photo that we choose and get it ready to create that pattern. And we will be doing that step by step right on the computer. You will be doing it with me. If you are not yet a Patreon member, I would suggest and invite you to join us, because we'd really love to have you here. We have over a couple hundred wonderful tutorial videos from everything from quilt-alongs to piece-alongs to long-arm quilting designs, thread painting, all sorts of things. So we'd really love to have you join our wonderful community as we learn and grow together. And as always, take care of yourself and do the best you can out there, everybody. Goodbye.